The Purge trilogy, in many respects, is one of the least asked for trilogies in film history. Very few people upon seeing the 2013 original were clamoring for a sequel, but considering that it was made for a measly $3 million and made nearly $90 million, it's only logical that Universal would notice they had a cash cow on their hands. Two sequels, Anarchy and Election Year, followed The Purge's release in 2014 and 2016. Both of these films were also made for low budgets, closer to the 10 million region, but grossed well over 100 million in theaters. Given the success of The Purge and its two follow-ups, a fourth film is all but guaranteed, and will apparently follow the sequel that is actually a prequel formula that has worked out perfectly for so many other horror franchises. Despite these three films not really having a staple in American culture or history, and honestly not being remembered that well, I figured with all the insanity going on recently following the United States presidential election that it might be nice to remind everyone that it could be much, much worse. I'll be reviewing all three of these films across a handful of videos. I'm not really sure how many parts it'll take yet, but seeing as I actually enjoy Anarchy and Election Year, which I'll be explaining later, I feel safe in assuming that most of it will be eaten by my hatred for the one that started it all. As I already mentioned, The Purge was released in 2013, yet somehow it feels like it came out a lifetime ago. I distinctly remember being interested in it around that time because of the presence of Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey, as I've liked Ethan Hawke in just about every movie he's appeared in, with few exceptions, and Lena Headey won me over back with the Sarah Connor Chronicles, not even to mention her great villainous performances in Game of Thrones and Dread. The premise is pretty much perfect for a fun horror movie as well. All crime is legal for 12 hours once a year, so people just go batshit insane and murder each other? Oh, count me in! This is gonna be fun! Said me, seconds prior to starting this movie. The Purge as a concept is completely unbelievable, at least in this day and age. It's worth noting that while this film takes place in 2022, the first Purge happened in 2017 in this universe, so it's not like it got implemented in the far future. There were several articles around the time this movie came out discussing if the Purge should become a real event, or if it was plausible to happen in the US as it stands now. I'll save you the time of reading them.
The answer is no.
Even beyond the obvious moral and ethical qualms of it, there are so many technicalities that would have to be worked out with both starting and ending the Purge, which I'll get into as I talk more about the movie. Not to mention, what country would hold foreign relations with a nation that regularly lets its denizens slaughter and rape each other as a yearly ritual? Apart from Russia, I doubt we'd have too many takers. As for how this movie ended up getting sequels despite its ending being pretty concrete, I'll let producer Jason Blum handle this one.
If we made a sequel to Paranormal Activity, we can make a sequel to anything, so don't worry about the sequel. We'll figure that out, make this movie well, and if it works, we'll figure out the next one.
For those unfamiliar, Blum is known for producing such classics as The Martyrs remake, The Gallows, The Boy Next Door, The Darkness, Gem and the Holograms, and Whiplash. What? Okay, Jason Blum is an Academy Award nominated producer. May this serve as a reminder, kids, you really don't have to be talented to be successful. You just have to throw everything at a wall and eventually a few things will stick. While we're on the note of throwing everything at a wall, who else worked on this?
I needed a young girl who was 17 years old, and that's a hard category to find, a great actress at that age. I thought she was great. She did a great job with Mark. It's a back door into the kids.
And what about the director, James DeMonaco? Never heard of him. Let's see what he's done. Assault on Precinct 13. That's a pretty fun movie. Wait, Jack? This Jack. The Jack that killed the career of the once great Francis Ford Coppola.
Hey, listen, Dad, I gotta go. No, I really gotta go. Number one, Jack. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
That Jack? Okay, so this movie has officially lost all hope at this point. Written and directed by the brilliant mind behind Jack, produced by Michael Bay and Jason Blum, this movie is a barren wasteland where a promising premise once stood. A good cast cannot save it at this point, and over the duration of this video, and probably at least one more, I'm gonna give you all the reasons why. So the movie starts and we're met with this wonderfully boring text to spoon-feed the world to us, topped off by an incredibly lame quote with no source. Guess I'll give them credit for not attributing it to Albert Einstein like people on Facebook seem to do, but still, at least make up a name. That said, the opening credits of this movie is one of the main things I actually really like about it. Having this intro of intense violence and various murders set to Claire de Lune really establishes the world of this movie as one that's completely desensitized to violence. It gives you the impression that this footage you're seeing is just something that families would have on at home in the background during a party, which is apparently what some of these people actually do.
We're just gonna lock down, watch some Purge events, nothing special.
But as soon as we're past these credits, we're introduced to our main character, James Sandon, played by Ethan Hawke. He's really good at security systems. That's his character.
System is working without a hitch. You're gonna be locked in tight tonight.
They're so good, he even uses them himself.
Okay, yeah, it's the same one I use.
He only sells the best.
I only sell the best.
Those of you who were watching the background footage earlier might have noticed those blue flowers on James's dashboard. At first, I was completely confused as to why these flowers are in the movie. It's referred to a few times that the flowers represent being supportive of the Purge even if you aren't participating yourself. Fair enough, but it seems like a pretty random item to use that with. But upon re-listening to the radio announcer at the beginning, I noticed he referred to the flowers specifically as blue baptisias.
Now don't forget to buy your blue baptisias,
which I guess might be referencing baptism. Cleanse society of all its violence and hatred and start anew for the rest of the year. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but if that was the intention, it was actually pretty subtle, and I kinda like it. However, this movie has no time to remain subtle, as the Sandins' neighbor Grace comes up, and I just fucking knew this woman was gonna come back later and probably try to kill them on my first watch.
You know your husband sold a new security system to almost every home in this community. You know, some people are actually saying this neighborhood paid for that new addition on your home.
It certainly doesn't help that the actress playing her is terrible at being anything but a wide-eyed creep, but they could have been at least a bit more subtle with the dialogue.
Relax, it's just good old neighborhood gossip, nothing to worry about.
Really? Now we get to meet Charlie. He's fucking awful. I'll give this movie credit for faking us out with him taking his vitals all the time. I thought for sure that meant he would have diabetes or something and they would have to find insulin while their home was invaded, but no. He's just a bit weird and takes his vitals for some reason. It does come back into play at the end of the movie, but it really doesn't make much of a difference. So good job on that. Bad job on everything else. Why is he creeping on his mom with this tank? If the intent was to scare her, they didn't portray that very well. It's very much shot to look like someone's invaded their home with a camera or something and is trying to gawk at Mary's legs, but it's their fucking son. Also, what the fuck? Are you serious? I'm sorry, but there is no parent on the face of the planet that would be cool with their young son rolling that creepy fucking thing around the house with a camera on it. This is just cheap bullshit for the sake of cheap bullshit. Speaking of cheap shit, if you've seen a horror movie before, I'm sure you know there'll be a jump scare when she closes the fridge. Guess who it is? Go on, guess. Oh, they gotcha. It's Charlie. Aren't you spooked? Charlie starts bragging about his new improvements to his hellspawn.
Look, check it out. I made some adjustments to Timmy. I installed a night vision program, and I insulated his motor so you can barely hear him. And he can now play music to accompany him on his mission.
Wowee. I wonder if that will ever come into play. So they all sit down for dinner and we meet the daughter, Zoe. She's a real treat. Well, technically we saw her making out with her boyfriend, but that was so irrelevant I actually forgot to write it down after watching this movie 3 times.
Zoe, you're dead.
I don't want to do this anymore.
What, converse?
It's stupid.
What a bitch. None of my business. Carrots are fucking delicious. So now we finally get a reason for any concern at all.
I did it. I did it. All sales are final, and I'm on top. My division sold the most upgraded security systems.
Okay, so now we at least have something to be suspicious about. Maybe a reason for someone to want to kill him or his family. He's number 1? Okay, a competitor knocks him off, now they're number 1. While definitely forced, this at least serves as more of a maybe this will happen rather than a this will definitely without a doubt happen. And then despite Zoe being really unpleasant like 6 seconds ago, now they're all getting along fine, and James is being a good old goofster.
You know, he should have cut off his own penis.
Zoe?
Eating dinner. No
Yeah,
penis.
come on, Zoe. Seriously, and Charlie, don't encourage him.
Oh, come on, it was a little bit.
All right, we're not in the dormitorium, okay?
Oh, what a happy family they are, even though they weren't 10 seconds ago. James takes a look at the time and realizes, oh shit, Purge Night's about to start, better lock up. Right here, this is where the movie starts losing any sense of brain. I wasn't expecting this movie or its characters to be smart. In fact, I was expecting the opposite. But when it comes to a night where people can legally come into your house and fucking murder you, why would you not lock down like 6 hours ahead? Is it like Five Nights at Freddy's and you have to conserve the power for your doors? Somehow I doubt that, so I really don't know what this was supposed to do other than build non-existent, stupid suspense. So the family goes into James's control room for their security system. Seems kinda weird to have an entire room dedicated to something that happens once a year, but okay. They notice Grace is having a party.
The Farrens are having a party.
Grace said she wasn't having a party this year.
Well, just thank God we weren't invited.
Grace wants to kill all of you.
All right, just get ready for tonight.
Wait, what? Isn't that the sole reason you came in here?
It's time for lockdown. Let's go.
Lock down your fucking house! This whole part gets to me so badly. You are already in the room. The lockdown is for outside of your house, not inside it. We see that. Nothing gets affected in the house. Why the fuck wouldn't you have done this the instant you were all home? Why wouldn't you have done this as soon as you got to the room? Is there like a 12-hour time limit on it? The purge starts in like 20 minutes. You really want to risk having a technical bug with your security system right now, then have to scramble to fix it as the purge is going on? What if it were to jam on the way down and you just get fucked? You're willing to take that risk now? Really?
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge.
Okay, holy shit, I was being generous with 20 minutes. The purge announcement started exactly 50 seconds after they locked down the house. And no one tell me they skipped time because James was going to sit down as the channel changed. No time passed, meaning they, quite literally, waited until the last minute to activate their security system that will save their lives. Now you can give me the defense that there's no outside threat right now and that the purge doesn't technically start until the announcement is over. But still, you really think the police are going to be able to tell that you killed someone at 6:59 p.m. instead of 7 p.m.? Or even 6:30? How the fuck would they know? Someone could have decided to kill you right now and you still took this risk. All of you deserve to die. Now it's time for the super spooky purge commencement broadcast message announcement thing.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder.
Including murder. This line really sticks out as a, ooh, we're a movie and this is scary line, considering the rest of the announcement sounds pretty official. Just saying
any and all crime
gets the message across and honestly feels more realistic. And then James explains the purge to Charlie again, even though he learned about the history of the purge in class today.
We studied the history of tonight in history.
And he would have lived through 5 purges by now, regardless of his age. How did they survive those first few purges without giving Charlie an accurate understanding of what the event was? This kinda seems like a world where you wouldn't be able to baby your children, lest it literally get them killed. The movie makes it very clear later that the only reason they got rich in the first place was off of selling these newly installed security systems for Purge Night. So how long have they been selling those for? How did they survive? Why does nothing make sense?
Tonight allows people a release for all the hatred and violence and aggression that they keep up inside.
That's not a good defense at all. Most people don't have psychopathic urges to murder people they dislike, even people they hate. And those who do want to kill people frequently don't have the backbone to do it. But no.
This night saved our country.
Okay, did it? Let's talk about the timeline of these movies. The first Purge was in March 2017, or about 3 months from now as of this video's release. In the Purge Anarchy, it's referred to as the 6th annual Purge, and Anarchy takes place in 2023, exactly 1 year after this one, making this the 5th annual Purge. Also in Anarchy, it's mentioned that in this universe, the new founding fathers who devised the Purge came into power in 2014.
My name is Donald Talbot. Our regime was voted into office 9 years ago, and the first order of business was to deal with the epidemic of crime that was plaguing this nation. The answer was the purge.
So apparently our crime rate and poverty levels got so bad sometime between 2014 and right now that the government figured that rather than continuing efforts to combat it, we should just have a night where people can kill and rape each other willy-nilly, rid ourselves of the poor population and lower the crime rate. Spoilers, that's the message of this movie, is the poor people can't be defended but the rich can because they're wealthy, so wealth is bad, blah, blah, blah. I realize I'm debunking the logic of the Purge movies, but seriously, at least put a few more years in the future so it can be approaching believable. Hooray, we're back with the daughter and fuck off. So now the boyfriend's in the house and he wants to confront James about dating his daughter because James doesn't approve, I guess, because this guy's 18 but his daughter isn't. They seem around the same age to me. I don't know, whatever.
I didn't come here to see you. I came to see your father.
What? Why?
It's time to straighten this out. He cannot forbid you from seeing me.
But does Zoe not find it the least bit suspicious that he decided to talk to her dad on Purge Night? Why not do this any other night when it's not legal for him to kill her father? He's not really being all that subtle, so I guess Zoe's just really fucking stupid. Having characters be stupid is one thing, but having characters be stupid for plot convenience is something else. This is definitely the latter. We go back to the rest of the family and they're watching TV. Oh, wait. There's TV? What? There's apparently a news anchor and a criminologist talking on screen right now.
And discussing the Purge with criminologist Tommy Agard.
So, are they Class 10 government officials?
Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the Purge and shall not be harmed.
Those are the only people protected during the Purge. We don't see them on screen, but I assume they're in a studio, right? I mean, what about the numerous switchboard operators and graphic artists that be required to run this thing? Did the newsroom lie to me about how many people there are in a station's control room? Because it seems like there's more than one. What if one of them just shoots someone? And while we're on it, what about people who operate power plants? How is electricity still on? Are they somehow immune from being purged or from purging themselves? It isn't illegal to take the day off work. Why not just go kill their boss and get a promotion? For those of you who haven't seen these movies, maybe you think I'm painting humanity in a bit of a cynical light. Just because all crime is legal, people wouldn't really murder each other like crazy, right? In the real world, I don't think so. At least not as quickly as we're led to believe it's happened here, which would be 5 years in. People seem to just flip a switch into batshit insane mode on this one night, as if they have a psychosis completely under control until March 21st at 7 p.m. where it just goes buck wild. I totally buy that people would steal a bunch of shit, absolutely. People do that for pretty much anything now.
Earlier in the day, there was reports of, there was social media memes going around, these little flyers saying everybody purge today. It's a reference to a movie in which there is, a period of lawlessness.
But straight to murder? I don't know about that. So at this point, the main sources of tension are fairly straightforward. This kid hates James for not letting him date Zoe. He's going about it in a weird way, so he's probably gonna try to kill James. Again, it's really fucking obvious, but at least there's some kind of tension now. Up until this point, there hasn't been, because they're in a heavily fortified house with no visible threat from the outside world. We're 20 minutes in. Oh boy. So the boyfriend reassures Zoe that
everything is gonna be okay.
I'm sure. But oh, what's this? Who is this handsome devil? He looks a bit injured and he's also yelling a lot.
Does anybody hear me?
Alarming. Now we have two big suspense buildups going on at once. How is the boyfriend gonna try to kill James? Because fucking obviously he's gonna try that. And who is this gentleman slowly walking and then kind of jogging and then shouting outside their house? The movie is starting to get a little bit interesting, but then... Okay, Nope, sorry. This movie no longer takes place in any form of reality that could possibly exist. There is no human child with even a modicum of the intelligence this one appears to have, given his horrifying baby tank creation, that would think it's a good idea to disarm the security system with gunfire in earshot. I refuse to accept that this boy exists, but unfortunately he does, so okay, the security system's off now. So the stranger is now aware of Charlie's presence, right? The shutting off the security system was pretty loud, and Charlie's also yelling at him.
Come here!
So the dude dicks around for a couple seconds, but I'm gonna set a timer for how long it takes him to cross their yard once he's started running. And this all happens in real time because you can still hear the son yelling different lines in the background as different characters react to his borderline retarded decision. So this is accurate timing. So you mean to tell me that this man, a clearly fit young man who is running for his life, couldn't clear that yard in like 7-8 seconds? It doesn't look very big. Why did this take him so long? So James and Mary run downstairs to figure out what's going on, and what is he doing? Now that the intruder's being led into the house, you would think it would be a good time to speak and not try to look intimidating. It's almost like he knew there's a camera on him and he wants to scare the audience, even though he was just begging for help like 6 seconds ago, and also they all have guns. Oh, Henry's back.
Mr. Sandin.
James, he has a gun! Henry has a gun!
You fucking idiot. Okay, so let's go over Henry's plan again. He apparently loves Zoe, which I honestly thought they were bullshitting at first and he just wanted to fuck her, but okay. He's willing to murder her father, so I guess that shows devotion, kind of. But doesn't she love her dad? All we've seen so far is that she gets mildly annoyed by him and that he's protective, but overall they seem to have a decent relationship. If he was abusive or something, then sure, jump to this solution. Maybe still not reasonable, but at least it's something. But why would he go straight for murder and think Zoe would stay with him? Also,
Mr. Sandin.
This is actually worse than the monologue before murder cliche. Not only was Henry stupid enough to give away the complete drop he had on James, he gives himself away before he's gotten the gun out and before anyone's seen him. They're all focused on the new visitor. This is your perfect opportunity. Then it takes him so long to get the gun out of his waistband that Mary has the time to shout,
James, he has a gun! Henry has a gun!
Before a single shot is fired, where Henry takes aim at mere feet from the higher position while James is standing still using proper-ish form and misses. Serves you right, Henry. But oh no, in all the confusion, the visitor has vanished, because we need something remotely intense to be happening for no reason. Zoe is coddling her recently shot boyfriend who just tried to kill her father, which, I Okay, maybe I was wrong about her loving her dad. I don't know. I would think she would be checking on her dad rather than her boyfriend, but okay. Anyway, he dies, and now Charlie is in dangerously close contact with the mother he peeped on. The wheels are turning a little bit now, but the premise still hasn't been used to its full potential. And just to spoil the rest of the movie, it never comes close. Honestly, James leaving Charlie alone with the mother is the scariest thing that's happened in this movie so far. But not as scary as the man standing out of focus like Batman then walking away for no reason. Mary fucks off and leaves Charlie in the room, and I really can't blame her, and runs into Zoe.
Are you okay? Is Charlie okay?
What's Dad? Is he alright?
No, everyone's fine.
Mom, I didn't know Henry was going to do that. I didn't know he was going to try. Why would he do that? I don't understand.
Charlie, just give me a second, okay?
Just give me a second.
Mom?
Charlie, just give me a second.
I need a second, okay? Why can't anybody give me a goddamn second?
Now.
Charlie, spit it the fuck out. Charlie is the reason that they're in any danger, and the little shit doesn't have the common courtesy to just say, there are people with guns coming down the street. This is worse than the you need to see this cliche.
You need to see this.
Oh, fuck you. James comes upstairs from dicking around, and Mary hits him with, again? Really? Another dialogue cliche in like 5 seconds? Also, he was just downstairs looking out the front door. That's what that was, wasn't it? One of the front doors or something? It's honestly hard to tell because the cinematographer of this movie doesn't like to get more than 2 feet from the actors' faces, but I thought that's what he was implying. And then he moves to the side of the window so he can't be seen by the approaching gang, right? What was that scene supposed to be if not him going to the front door? But I guess he doesn't know there are people coming, so now he does, and he's scared. At first, it seems like the group of purgers just kind of know which house the man ran into by blind luck, considering they were like 90 miles behind him. But once this guy shows up, he says,
several of your dear neighbors informed us that you, the Sandins, have inexplicably given him sanctuary.
But every time we see the gang on the security feed, they're firing guns and walking down the middle of the street. I realize this movie has trouble with accurately judging how long it takes to travel places, but how would they have moved down this relatively short street with enough time to stop at not one, but several of their neighbors' houses? Not to mention the fact that there's no way any of the neighbors would have been able to know which house the man went into. Unless they're implying that the security camera system is shared by everyone, their only viewpoint would be their windows, which, as we saw earlier, are just a solid metal sheet. You don't have any viewpoint outwards, so how the hell did their neighbors know this? Now, this guy. Oh, what a treat this character is. His name isn't given in the movie, a recurring trend you'll find throughout this series, but his actor's name is Reese Wakefield, and like so many actors in American films recently, he is Australian. Reese gives what might just be the most over-the-top cartoonish performance I've seen in a semi-grounded movie in recent years, and he's also the only entertaining thing about this movie. While Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey are at least trying to give good performances, and their children are incapable of it because young people apparently just can't act in horror movies with rare exceptions, his goofiness and fun, although terrible, is just about the only thing that got me through the dreadfully boring hour that remains.
We are some fine, young, very educated guys and gals. If you don't deliver him by the aforementioned time, we'll release the beast on him and on you. Please just let us purge. Toodaloo, Sandins.
He's just awful. Also, yeah, we're over a half hour in, and so far, they've let a man into their house who immediately vanished, and they already resolved the issue with the boyfriend. Why wasn't that the whole movie, or at least more of it? Henry could have tried working with them, but occasionally argued about dating Zoe, maybe. Maybe the gang outside is coming for Henry instead of this random dude. I'm not saying that would have been good, because it wouldn't have been, but at least it would have been an uncertain threat that doesn't just vanish into the parts of the frame that are out of focus. Or just have him enter to confront James before the man gets into the house, then have their conversation cut short by Charlie being a fucking idiot. I just feel like killing Henry off so early was kind of pointless. Everything the plot set up in the first 20 minutes is pretty much fucked now, and the only relevant detail is the man in the house. So congratulations. This is how it feels to have your time wasted.